He's said he's ticked all those boxes and got the rounds in that he needs to have a big fight like this, but fighting a person like myself is very different to fighting everyone else that he's fought. I bring a lot of experience, I bring, same as in belief, determination, and I will win come to 25th October.
So I have full faith, full confidence in myself that I'm at this level and able to beat and knock out Joseph Parker. That I have all the skills and all the abilities to do so. I just need to put it together properly on the night and get it done.
I'm not going to go into this fight and back off.
Do you believe you knock out Fabio Wardley?
I can. I have the power to do so.
I doubt through the 12 rounds there's going to be a moment where he doesn't get clipped by me and doesn't hit.
The press conference didn't feel like routine promotion anymore. The air thickened when Joseph Parker, calm but clearly irritated, finally snapped at Fabio Wardley. His voice hardened, his eyes sharpened, and the words came out like steel. This wasn't polite banter, it was a chilling warning. Parker promised to smash through Wardley on fight night, and in that instant, the atmosphere changed.
If you can find a way with me, it's different. I'm not Justice Huni, I'm not Fraser Clark, I'm me, Joseph Parker. A different fighter, a different beast altogether.
Veteran Kiwi wasn't playing games. Wardley, trying to hold his ground, fired back with swagger and self-belief. He promised a knockout, his words bold and rehearsed. But for all the bravado, there was a flicker of unease. The audience could sense it. It was as if Fabio was daring himself to believe what he was saying, masking nerves.
Look, I've not come here to play around. I've not made it this far in my career to just hang about and wait for things to be handed to me. I'm very much a go-getter. Look, I made
nerves with noise. That single exchange transformed the press conference into a live battleground, a glimpse of the storm to come. When the back and forth cooled, Duke McKenzie cut through the noise with veteran precision. He wasn't buying the hype surrounding Wardley. His analysis was sharp, almost surgical. To McKenzie, Wardley...
He relies on his power far too much. He hasn't brought enough to his game right now, and I thought he would have kicked on from that. If he's going to have any chance against Joseph Parker, then he can't just rely on that big right hand. Joseph Parker's a seasoned, well-schooled athlete.
Who hits hard.
Yeah, who hits hard. He's on a resurgence in terms of his confidence and where he is in boxing now, Parker. So it's a good...
Wardley relied far too heavily on raw power, leaning on one-punch salvation. That gamble, he argued, wouldn't work against someone as polished and complete as Parker. McKenzie reminded the room of Parker's qualities: seasoned, powerful, intelligent, and brimming with momentum. Against Fabio's gamble, Parker brought a full arsenal. Duke's words were less prediction than warning.
He's got at least 6-7 set combinations. He can fight. So he needs to control this beast. If he doesn't control it, don't be surprised if you get an upset Saturday night. Don't be surprised.
Do you think Parker has the power or the speed and combination?
I think he's got the speed and combination.
Wardley's Hail Mary style wouldn't rescue him against Parker's discipline. Johnny Nelson took it a step further. He didn't mince words, calling Joseph Parker a beast. Nelson emphasized the depth of Parker's toolkit, 6 or 7 set combinations ready to fire, blending speed, timing, and power in a way Wardley hadn't.
Parker has got wonderful skills, and under Andy Lee, he's really rejuvenated, and I think he's one of the best heavyweights in the world, period now, former world champion, of course. I think he's better than he once was, so that's a problem for Wardley, but Wardley brings that power in, and remember, Joe Joyce knocked Joe Parker out. Others have had him in trouble, Dillian White down, so you can never write Wardley out of anything. Man,
Experienced. Yes, Nelson acknowledged. Parker had been hurt before, and Wardley carried real danger, but the unpredictability favored Parker, not Fabio. Even when Nelson entertained the possibility of an upset, it sounded more like recognition of Parker's dangerous versatility. Wardley might land a big shot, but the likelihood was slim. Parker, Nelson said, was sharper than ever under Andy Lee's guidance, reborn and dangerous. Adam Smith framed the matchup as more than hype. It was a genuine crossroad. He painted Parker as a reborn craftsman, sharpened by Andy Lee's training and buoyed by recent victories. Parker wasn't just a name, he was an active force in the division, scarred but smarter, hungrier.
He needs a big fight, and if Alexander Usyk is going to wait and maybe not fight until 2026, Parker needs to be back in the ring. I think it's a really interesting fight against Fabio Wardley.
Yeah, me too.
Wardley, of course, who's undefeated still, but lucky maybe, some would say, after being outboxed round after round against Justice Huni at his beloved Portman Road. But the last thing a puncher loses is that right hand, and that's all he needed, all she wrote that night.
Is that lucky?
Than ever. Smith pointed out that Parker couldn't afford to drift. With Alexander Usyk tied up until 2026, every fight mattered. Wardley was the perfect stay-busy opponent, but also a risky one. Smith's breakdown exposed Wardley's fragility. Yes, undefeated, but flattered by fortune. He recalled the Justice Honey fight, where Wardley fell behind, battered, and somehow escaped with a last-ditch knockout. For Smith, it was simple. Parker was fighting not just an undefeated man, but one who had been saved by luck before. And luck, he suggested, runs out. If Parker stayed disciplined, Wardley's magic wouldn't save him this time. Eddie Hearn added promotional fire, but even his words carried weight. He praised Parker's recent streak, citing his willingness to fight dangerous opponents on short notice, fighters others avoided.
I think it's a great fight. I mean, firstly, Joe Parker is on an incredible run.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's beaten Wilder when no one really wanted to fight him. He's beaten Zhang when he was like the bogeyman, and he's just beaten Bacoli, although, you know, on short notice. I mean, that was a dangerous fight to take. So
Absolutely.
I love Joe. I think he deserves an opportunity. Joe against Dubois, Joe against Usyk, Joe against AJ. They're all great fights. I think
Parker wasn't chasing relevance. He was forcing his way back into the elite conversation. Hearn listed names: Wilder, Joyce, Chisora, Zhang, fighters Parker had already faced or beaten. This wasn't a man clinging to the past. It was a former champion climbing again, earning respect the hard way. Eddie's framing was clear. Wardley was more test subject than rival. If Parker rolled through him, the heavyweight landscape would shift overnight. For British fans, Hearn's words hit differently. Parker's graft and grit had long been respected, but now, with momentum on his side, the validation felt real. Wardley wasn't the star of this story. He was the gatekeeper Parker had to smash through. Spencer Oliver, however, reminded everyone not
pulling. I don't think anyone would accuse Usyk of ducking anything, right?
So you dance like that when you're injured?
He dances like that on the paddle court. I danced around in absolute misery when I was playing on a paddle court. Talking about Joseph Parker, the Ringer magazine have just announced that August 25th at the O2, Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley.
Yeah, called it. There you go.
What do you think to that?
Yeah,
Good fight.
That's been announced.
Yes,
I love that fight. I think it's great.
to dismiss Fabio entirely. He credited Wardley for his grit and character, qualities that saved him against Justice Honey. Many fighters would have folded under that pressure, but Wardley endured and still carried fight-ending power. Oliver's analysis reframed the fight. For Parker, it wasn't just about skill, it was about discipline, timing, and nerve. Could the reborn former champion stay sharp enough to neutralize Fabio's grit and hammer, or would Wardley's stubbornness open a small door to shock the world? Wardley leaned heavily on the miles on the clock argument, pointing to Parker's long career as a weakness. He painted him as a worn-out veteran, softened by years of wars, but seasoned observers saw the truth differently. Parker's mileage wasn't wear and tear. It was experience, forged at the highest level against elite names. Wardley's comments sounded less like confidence and more like self-comfort. Deep down, he knew Parker's scars weren't flawed.
Say because he's not the oldest, but time within the sport, potentially. He's been around for a very long time. He's had a lot of fights. I think he's close. He's either at or is close to having 40-odd fights. Some of those have been rough wars. Some of those have been pretty good back and forths. Like, he doesn't shy away from a scrap, so he has got a few miles.
They were proof he had been through fires Wardley had never faced. That gap between hype and hard reality was the danger. Wardley was stepping into unknown waters. Parker had been swimming there for years. Jordan bluntly said what many thought. Wardley got out of jail in his last fight. In other words, he was lucky. That begged the question, was he ready for Parker, or was this leap too far? Catterall offered balance. He tipped Parker to win, but called it the right fight for Fabio nonetheless. It was an opportunity, a proving ground. But even in that framing, the imbalance was clear. For Parker, this was about sharpening his edge, keeping momentum, and staying in the title hunt. For Wardley, it was survival against a proven veteran. Most insiders favored. Liam Goff zeroed in on the stakes with one phrase: big risk. For Fabio, it was a leap from domestic buzz to world-class.
What do we think of Parker versus Wardley?
Excellent fight in terms of Wardley. Now Wardley got out of jail in his last one.
Well,
He was getting systematically beaten.
Is it the right fight for Fabio?
Well, I think Joe Parker wins it. I think
does that make it the right fight for Fabio?
The guy that
it's the right opportunity. It's all about opportunity. You have so it is the right fight. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
for Fabio.
So. Absolutely. Look, they're both at the top of the tree.
Position. From Justice Honey to Joseph Parker was a massive jump, the kind of step that either reveals greatness or exposes hype. For Parker, the risk was different. Facing a younger puncher with nothing to lose always carries danger, but the asymmetry was obvious. Parker had lived in the deep end for years, facing Wilder, Ruiz, White, Joyce, Zhang. Wardley had barely dipped his toes. If Parker stayed composed, Goff argued, Fabio's unpredictability would become a liability, exposing gaps no previous opponent could. The fight then wasn't just a test of skill, but a test of maturity. Parker's composure versus Fabio's raw ambition. Anthony Joshua's endorsement of Parker might have been the most telling of all. Having shared the ring with Parker, AJ knew his toughness, professionalism, and skill firsthand. His public support wasn't just courtesy, it was recognition. Joshua said Parker deserved another world title shot. Coming from a fellow top heavyweight, that statement carried weight. It signaled to Wardley and to fans that Parker wasn't a fading name. He was a genuine...
For both guys to take this fight, a big risk for Fabio Wardley because it's a massive jump up in comparison to Justice Uni, and it's the unpredictability and the unknown of Fabio Wardley for Joseph Parker. You know, so I respect the both guys for taking this fight. Frank Warren hit the nail on the head very
contender, still carving his way back. For Fabio, that was sobering. If AJ saw Parker as worthy of another title crack, then this wasn't a soft touch. This was a mountain disguised as a stepping stone. The stakes couldn't be clearer. For Joseph Parker, victory would cement his rebirth. It would slam open the door to another world title opportunity and silence those who questioned if he still belonged among the elite. For Fabio Wardley, the fight was a gamble. Defeating Parker would rocket him from promising puncher to genuine world contender overnight, but the risk was enormous. If Parker exposed him, Wardley's hype could collapse as quickly as it rose. This wasn't two equals meeting at their peak. It was proven pedigree versus raw ambition. The reborn craftsman against the fearless gambler. Parker seasoned and sharpened versus Wardley unpredictable but untested. As the bell approaches, the question lingers.
He needs a world title shot. He was supposed to get it tonight, and he will get it, 100%. And I'm rooting for him to become two-time champion of the world. It's not an easy feat. It's one thing, like he was there. He was on the door of it today. In terms of with the Dubois fight, but it shows you how tough it is. It ain't just like how good are you, it's the stars have got to align. Just to get that champion in the ring takes a bit of like luck as well, so I'm sure.
Will Joseph Parker's experience and discipline dismantle Fabio Wardley's rise, or will Wardley's youthful chaos crack Parker's veteran armor? One man fights for resurgence, the other fights for legitimacy. Only one will leave with momentum, so who do you back? Parker, the reborn beast with scars that turn to steel? Or Wardley, the hungry puncher daring to roll the dice on the biggest stage of his life? Drop your predictions below.